Hello, Facebook, YouTube. I want to talk to you about the date March 20th. It's quite interesting date that that God has to me He put an important signs on March 20th, and the thing is, I'm going to show you the signs that He's putting on there. Now, I'm going to be using I'm going to be using a sign of the a picture of the lost books of Nostradamus. That I want you to check this out. I know y'all be like, oh, he's not a prophet of Israel or something like that. But it's quite interesting, this picture that he drew that look like it describes March 20th. It looks like it describes the events that may happen or may take place at that period of time. But let me go, tell you about the ideas. Well, the interesting about this on May 20th, first last year, they had a solar eclipse took place on March 20th, and that was in a blood moon tetrad, the last blood moon tetrad. That's quite interesting. That that solar eclipse was there on March 20th. Now, and I showed, yes, God just showed me, popped something in my head. That, when Peter said that the sun shall be darkened, and that describes a solar eclipse, and he said he gave prophecies that coincide that ideal reality that of this date. But the quite interesting thing I want to talk about is that the March 20th this year is a leap year, and a leap year in the February 20th they add another day to it. It's another day to it, so it kind of pushes the dates. But this year it still ended up on the spring equinox ended up on March 20th. Now, let me tell you something about the spring equinox. Spring equinox is one of the most important ideal of the beginning of summer, because the beginning of spring, of course, new beginnings, new rejuvenation, and all that other stuff. That is very important to understand. Rebirth, renewable, everything starts getting restored. Restoration. Restoration, restore. Because the day of restoration, as prophesied by Peter in Acts 3, he talks about the restoration of all things through Jesus Christ. That may have, I'm getting revelation as I'm giving y'all this video. Forgive me, but the thing is, on March 20th is showing is on the spring equinox, and it's showing forth a pattern. Now, this is quite interesting. I'm getting this revelation while I'm doing this, because I'm finna show you this picture that Nostradamus, part of his lost pictures of Nostradamus, that quite may show forth that ideal reality. Now, it's showing a picture of a person, a man sitting with a crown, looking at a book, and with a tree on it. And I believe in that book it says male somewhere. It's interesting. And it's going to show of course, the sign of Pisces, and it's going to show that something has been cut right in between at the end of Pisces. That's what's so cool about this picture. Cut at the end, because March 20th is the end of Pisces. That is quite interesting concerning this picture. And it shows forth a woman with a bow and arrow. That I believe that woman, the bow and arrow, is the church. You know what I'm saying? The bride of Christ that's going to go to war very soon. That I keep doing scriptures about, that talks about, that pertaining to Isaiah 61 and to 2 Corinthians 6, talks about us being ministers or going to war, concerning the vengeance, the day of the Lord's vengeance, the vengeance of God or something like that. And Isaiah 61, that I believe may take place in the start of March 20th. I believe, maybe. Now, I'm finna show you this picture, and I hope this picture can help. Is on my other iPad, so you might get some glare in it. But the picture right here, it shows that ideal that might take place very soon in March 20th. Notice the end, the cut off part in the end of Pisces is what's so cool about it. Oops, it's fading. The end of Pisces, you know what I'm saying? That's what's so cool about it, that I hope that you see concerning this picture. And the thing is, now, another ideal that makes March 20th more important is the idea that I did research on, of course, and it's going to be the beginning of months that Moses and Aaron, God told Moses and Aaron in Exodus 20, I believe, that it talks about the beginning of months, that that pertaining when they told the congregation to choose a lamb without spot or blemish to sacrifice. And I was wrong. Exodus 12, Exodus 12. It talks about the beginning of months that God told Abraham and Aaron to tell the children of Israel to select a lamb and sacrifice it, and they took the lamb's blood and they put it over the door. You know what I'm saying? They put the blood over the door, as you know about that, and that when the angel come about, it couldn't kill the firstborn. That event happened on the spring equinox, and that's very important that that event happened concerning the lamb. And this is why I try to tell people that Jesus Christ was born on the spring equinox, because he had to be born on the spring equinox because everything that God does operates in order. You know what I'm saying? When God established something, he established everything in his particular order. That, that Jesus had to be born not on December 25th, but in the spring equinox, wherever the spring equinox occurred, because that is, and shout out to my boy Rabbi, Jonathan, that is the time when in Israel that, the lambs are being prepared to be sacrificed for Passover. It's the time of, and at the time, the Jesus' birth story, that it was the sheep were out there in the field. The shepherds was out there in the field tending to their lot, because they're getting ready for, Passover. And that's why the angels, of course, told the shepherds to come, and see Jesus. That's why I believe that the Jesus' birthday was on pretty much the day of March 20th, on the spring equinox, because the spring equinox represents the new beginning, because Jesus come to be a new beginning. That's why John said, in the beginning, was the Word, and the Word was God. That he prophesied, because John was there at Jesus' death. He got the true revelation of God, Jesus, who Jesus Christ is, the Word that was with God, and the Word was God, the Word that was in the beginning, because Jesus come to establish the new beginning, and Jesus had to be established in a place where the new beginning has to be established. But now I'm not done. Now in March 20th on this year will be the day when Jesus come on the white horse. He will come on the donkey of Israel. It'll be Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the 20th too. See, look at all these events that's happening on this March 20th. Palm Sunday is there, and it's unbelievable that, all of these things are all showing up. And I showed you the picture of the Lost Books of Nostradamus, that the Pisces, it's in the Pisces, and it got that cutoff thing right there. All these events must precede something, because there's so many ideal, things. And I did research on spring equinox, that the kingdom of darkness know about the spring equinox. Did you know that you're supposed to celebrate? They're supposed to celebrate Easter on the first day of spring. They're supposed to celebrate Easter on the first day of spring, but of course the Catholic Church moves it to the day supposed to be of Resurrection Day, the Sunday. But the truth of Resurrection Day, that Jesus Christ was not resurrected on Sunday, but he was resurrected on Saturday. Saturday, he rose Saturday morning. Because the reason why I know, according to Scripture too, that he got to rose Saturday morning, because he's the Lord of the Sabbath. And the Lord had to rise in the Sabbath. He has to rise, raise up in the Sabbath day. The Lord of the Sabbath had to rise up in the Sabbath. And the Sabbath is the Friday to, Saturday morning. He had to rose Saturday morning, that he will fulfill the purpose of being who he is, and that's what I, try to tell people. But really, Jesus was born on a Saturday morning, not Sunday morning. But anyway, the thing is, but this is quite interesting event that's going to happen in March 20th is what's going to be very fascinating. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just showing you these key stuff, and I'm just off the top of my head, Revelation giving me about a lot of stuff about this March 20th. And of course, what's important, the solar eclipse from last year concerning March 20th is very key to something has to happen, maybe happen at that particular time, or after, the day of March 20th. That, who knows? I don't know. But the thing is, the interesting thing, I believe that, I believe what's going to be fulfilled is Isaiah 61, and 2 Corinthians 6, that talks about the ministers will be ready for war. That I believe that's going to happen and take place. That you go check it out and research for yourself. All right, that's the message. I hope you got it. I hope you be blessed. To God be the glory here and forever. In Jesus' name, amen.